It's crazy how every decision that you and I have ever made has led to this very moment in which you clicked on this video. When you apply that context to athletes who make career-defining decisions all the time, it makes you think, if one of these decisions had not been made, would we be living in the reality that we are right now?
Kelly!
I've identified 6. I can't do the hands because I'm holding this mic. Just imagine there's another hand. I've identified 6 legacy-defining decisions that Chloe Kelly has made over the course of her career that all led to this very moment. So if one of these decisions went any differently, we would not be here right now having this conversation. Chloe Kelly began playing football at the age of 4, which is to be expected when you're the youngest of 7 with 5 brothers and 1 sister. And it was in this environment that she developed her flair and creativity for the game, which got recognized by Queen's Park Rangers, which was the first academy team that she played with in her youth. She then got picked up by Arsenal and she progressed from their centre of excellence to the academy and eventually to their first team. As in 2015, she made her debut for Arsenal in the Conti Cup against Watford at 17 years old, and she bagged 22 minutes in. This is just what she does. She just comes on, makes an impact instantly. But those of you who are not new to my channel and have already seen my Lauren James documentary, have already seen my Michelle Adjuman documentary, know that impressing for Arsenal at a young age does not guarantee you any playtime whatsoever, as you're in an elite environment with a lot of experienced players. So Chloe Kelly, despite having an impressive debut, did not play that much for Arsenal and got sent out on loan to Everton not once but twice on 2 separate occasions. And despite playing well at Everton as a teenager, Arsenal still did not have a place for her in the side when she returned, leading to her making the first legacy-defining decision, which was to leave Arsenal. In order to become the player that she aspired to be, one of the best in the league, in the country, in the world, she had to be in an environment in which she was valued as one of the best players in the team. Arsenal was not that place for her. She decided to leave and join Everton permanently alongside her Arsenal teammate Taylor Hines. And as we all know, we would never see either of them in an Arsenal shirt again. But that move did Chloe wonders, as she, in the 2019-20 season, emerged as one of the best players in the league. She started the season on fire. 9 goals in 12 WSL games. She won September Player of the Month and had Everton ready for a cup run in the FA Cup and 7th in the league with a game in hand on 6th. But that was before all football got brought to a halt when the coronavirus pandemic hit, blah, blah, blah. You guys were around for that. And the WSL solution was just to award placings based on points per game. So Everton finished in 6th place as they had the 6th highest points average across the course of the season. Despite this premature ending, Chloe Kelly's season still got recognition as she was selected to the PFA Team of the Year. She was now in the senior national team picture and was getting attention from other WSL clubs, which led to decision point number 2, exit Everton. As in order for her to establish herself in the England team, she had to go somewhere where she was competing for top trophies as an important member of the team. Because if she can do that, that will give her a very good chance of being in the England squad for the 2021 Euros. But having left Arsenal due to insufficient game time, it was a big step to go back to a top club, and she was going to have to prove herself to stay in the lineup. And the pressure of competing for top trophies came in her Man City career immediately, as the FA Cup was not prematurely ended in the same way that WSL was. Yes, they continued the 2019-20 FA Cup into the 2020-21 season, and Kelly helped Man City get to the final, in which they would face, you already know, these stories are always poetic, they faced Everton, okay? So Chloe Kelly found herself in a situation in which no matter what the result is, she would have played for an FA Cup winning team that season. But obviously she wanted it to be the team that she was currently playing for. And despite a tough game which went into extra time, Man City emerged victorious, and Chloe Kelly had her first piece of silverware as a Man City player just a couple months into her tenure there. And she went and kicked on. She balled out that season. 16 goals, 14 assists in her debut season for Man City. Everything was going perfectly. She's playing against Birmingham City. She's already bagged 2 goals. She's about to score a hat-trick. And then
I remember just driving with the ball and chopping it back. And from then I just remember screaming, my knee. And then when the medics came on, I actually wanted to take the penalty that I'd just won, because it would have been my hat trick. So
Chloe Kelly, whose afternoon started so brightly with 2 goals in the first half, she will be stretchered off.
I remember the doctor calling me, and I was like, I can't remember anything in that moment, just the words, "It's your ACL." And I remember I just cried my eyes out. The next day I went to get my eyelashes done. It sounds stupid, but right, I've had my eyelashes done now, I'm not allowed to cry anymore. So that was my way of just being like, I'm not crying anymore. So it sounds crazy, but I needed to get over it.
Chloe Kelly was out for what could be up to 12 months with an ACL injury. And typically, given that that happened in May 2021, that would put her out for Euro 2021, which was supposed to happen in the following months. But due to this COVID-affected season, there was no men's Euros 2020, which meant that the Euro 2020 got shifted to 2021. And at home, England's men's team had a chance to bring football home. Sorry, bro. Anyways, that tournament happening in 2021 meant that the Women's Euros was delayed until 2022. And with that also taking place in England, Chloe Kelly and the rest of the England team had dreamed of moments like this ever since they were kids. And this delayed tournament gave her a chance, very slim chance by the way, of making that dream a reality. After months and months of rehab, Chloe Kelly was back. She played against Belgium for England, scored her first goal, and secured her place in Sarina Wiegman's England Euros squad miraculously. Now, despite not being the star of the show throughout the tournament, as England obviously had experience, but also had young players similar age to her, the likes of Ella Toone, Georgia Samway, Alessia Russo, who were really standing out at that tournament, England made it through to the final. Now, the magnitude of this final really highlighted how far the sport had come in a relatively short space of time, as this was the first time that England hosted the Euros since 2005, in which games weren't even being hosted across the country. It was only being hosted in certain stadiums in the north of England, smaller stadiums at that, because quite frankly, a lot of the clubs and stadiums weren't interested in women's football at the time, meaning that we had attendances as low as 900 for a European Championship in a tournament which only had 8 teams. And despite that, England finished bottom of their group. There were only 2 groups, and Germany won the whole thing. 17 years later, Germany found themselves back in the final, this time in front of nearly 90,000 people at Wembley against the host nation, England.
What a day, the biggest ever crowd for any Euros tournament final. Sarina Wiegman names an unchanged side for the 6th game running. And the run in behind for England is by turn. What a chip, what a goal! Flag stays down, and it comes McGill, 1-1. Got the touchdown, Kelly's in there. The goalkeeper's brought it in. Kelly scores for England.
England won the Euros, and now Chloe Kelly's legacy in football history had been established forever. But that didn't mean that the team was not hungry for more, as the following year in Wembley, Euros winners England were playing Copa America winners Brazil. The game went to penalties. Chloe Kelly, always willing to take the 5th and final penalty, had to do just that to secure the victory for England.
It's Kelly! The first female.
Now later on, in the World Cup, England found themselves playing against Nigeria, and the game ends up going to penalties.
Well, it always seems to be Chloe Kelly to put England through. Kelly!
The final was one step too far. Even though Chloe Kelly came on, they were not able to defeat Spain, so they were going to have to wait 2 years to reclaim international glory. In that time, club football took precedence again. Man City had an emerging star in Mary Fowler, who was establishing herself as a main player in the rotation. And then in the summer, Man City made more signings, which meant that Chloe Kelly went from their star, who was almost untouchable when it came to the starting lineup, to not even starting at all.
Chloe Kelly has launched a scathing attack on Manchester City.
Reports of a fractured relationship with manager Gareth Taylor make it seem that there's no way back for the England star.
After this statement, she then put out another that said, "So disappointed to find out tonight that people at the club are briefing journalists against me."
In these last couple of weeks where you've had Khadija Shaw out injured, where you had Lauren Hemp out injured, 2 key attacking players, and we still haven't seen Chloe Kelly.
She's got to get a move away from Manchester City. She's got to get consistent game time. She's got to prove that she's still at the level required to play for England. And where could she go?
How could I not?
So Arsenal, the team that gave her professional debut, the team with whom she rose through the ranks in the academy, they put an offer in for her to take her on loan for the rest of the season. Man City accept. Chloe Kelly's back at Arsenal, happy again, and with the chance to make the Euros team. She was seeing her old best friends. She was seeing her old enemies. It was great. But with Arsenal's first 2 games after the deadline on which Chloe Kelly was signed being against Man City, Chloe Kelly was ineligible to play as that was still her parent club. Meaning that we were now in like the middle of February and Chloe Kelly hadn't played since pretty much like before Christmas. She'd been hanging on to an England spot because there had been some injuries here or there in her position. But Sarina was like, it's time to pull the plug, not permanently, but temporarily, and removed Chloe Kelly from the England squad just months prior to Euros selection. With just a few months left of the club season, decision point number 5 came upon Chloe Kelly as she had to answer an important internal question.
Which is more important, getting or letting go?
West Ham shock Arsenal. That's been left for Chloe Kelly, who scores her first goal of her return to Arsenal. Kelly, good delivery. Arsenal have done it.
Arsenal Real Madrid, Champions League quarter-final.
It's towards Russo. Kelly. And it goes again, Mariana Candete! It's Arsenal who go through to the semi-final.
Chloe Kelly went and bagged 2 assists. Crazy foreshadowing. Russo then bags another and Arsenal complete the improbable comeback against Real Madrid and make it to the semi-finals of the Champions League. Arsenal played 8-time Champions League winners Lyon in the semi-final. Early in the second leg, a Chloe Kelly assist to an own goal set Arsenal up for a historic comeback in which they won 4-1, not aggregate, 4-1 in the second leg against Lyon and booked their place in the Champions League final. Chloe Kelly is playing a Champions League final. She was in January not playing football and now she's playing the Champions League final as an integral part of the squad. Of course, they go on to win that final 1-0 against Barcelona. She's now a Champions League winner. And as a result of that phenomenal form for her club, she made it into the Euro squad, in which she would predominantly be used as an impact sub. Now, England lost to France in the first game of these Euros, and everyone was getting a little bit shaky, a little bit. But they make it through to the quarterfinals in which they play against Sweden. And they find themselves down 2-0, about to go out. Sarina Wiegman looks to her trusted Chloe Kelly on the bench. Brings her on now. Beautiful assist cross to Lucy Bronze. 2-1. Almost the next breath, she's now running down the wing. The most disgusting Meg I've ever seen, bro. I said this in the last video, but let me actually expand on it now because this is Chloe Kelly's video now. How could you turn someone, meg them, and actually sit them down, like sit their bum on the floor, bro? That is crazy. Whips it into Beth Mead. Beth Mead sets it up for Ajman. England are back in the game and they take it to a penalty shootout in which is going terribly. England are about to be out of the penalty shootout. Despite Sweden not doing well, England only scored 1 penalty before it got to Chloe Kelly, who was the 5th penalty taker. As always, composed under pressure, she finishes the penalty and sets England up to somehow, miraculously, despite only scoring 1 more penalty, win that shootout. England now go to the semi-finals. And in those semi-finals, again, Chloe Kelly's coming off the bench. And you're hearing more and more of fans, pundits saying Chloe Kelly should start. Chloe Kelly should play more minutes. But she's not starting, okay? And England go down 1-0 again. This time, Sarina Wiegman's leaving it later and later before she brings on Chloe Kelly. Chloe Kelly comes on and completely changes the game again. Unlocks England's creativity. And eventually, 95th minute, England finally break through. And it's Ajman who scores the goal to save the nation, to keep them in the tournament. Then as it gets to extra time, Chloe Kelly still is continuing to dominate the play. So when Beth Mead won a penalty for England in the dying minutes of the game, we already knew who was going to be taking it. And we already knew what was going to happen. She was going to bag. Did we assume that she was going to bag first time? Probably, but that's not what happened. She ended up missing, got her rebound, scored. England are going through to the final. That connection that had been established with Alessia Russo reappeared as we saw a beautiful cross from Chloe Kelly straight into Alessia Russo, bang. But that was not enough to get England over the line as the game went to penalties. And this player, who was not even considered as a realistic member of the team just months prior to the start of the tournament, gets confronted with her final decision point. When asked whether or not she wants to take the 5th and decisive penalty, at that point, Chloe has 2 options. The same 2 options that she's had at each legacy-defining decision point. Do you leave Arsenal and establish yourself in the WSL? Do you exit Everton and place yourself as an English superstar? When your place in the Euros squad is in jeopardy, do you get over it and end up becoming the long-lasting image from those championships? Do you make the decision to return to Arsenal and give them a second chance so that you can climb back into the Euros squad and establish the legacy of an athlete, a career, a nation, and a sport? Yes or no?